as always, we're going to kick it off with Meet the Press.
Good Sunday morning. The all-out push is intensifying to get President-elect Trump's cabinet picks confirmed, from high-stakes meetings on Capitol Hill to public outings with Mr. Trump himself. On Saturday, the president-elect appeared in a suite at the Army-Navy football game with his choice to be Defense Secretary, former Fox News host and veteran Pete Hegseth, and his pick to be the National Intelligence Director, former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. Hegseth has been accused of sexual assault, which he denied.
That wasn't Trump's only guest at the Army-Navy football game. They also invited Daniel Penny to join them in the suite. He's the guy who recently was acquitted for the murder of Jordan Neely, the unhoused man who Daniel Penny choked to death on a New York City subway. And Trump decided to mark the acquittal by inviting Daniel Penny to watch a college football game with him, along with several other of his cabinet nominees. So does this mean that Daniel Penny is going to get a cabinet nomination, maybe in the Trump White House?
Oh, my God.
We'll see.
So disgusting. Really disgusting.
And has been challenged to explain past statements about women in combat. After meeting for a second time with Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, the first female combat veteran to serve in the Senate, Hegseth praised female troops.
I also want an opportunity here to clarify comments that have been misconstrued that I somehow don't support women in the military. Some of our greatest warriors, our best warriors out there are women who serve, raise their right hand to defend this country and love our nation.
Do you believe that gay people should be allowed to serve in the military?
Yes.
Now it comes as some Republican senators say they are facing blowback after raising questions about President-elect Trump's picks.
Do you feel like there's a pressure campaign against people who even throw out concerns?
I do, and I think that that's a two-edged sword.
Everybody toe the line. Everybody.
What does he mean? First of all, he means double-edged sword, I believe, but I don't know what that means. I don't know how it's a two-edged sword, but anyway, maybe he could clarify.
Yeah, I mean, as a politician, you want to be pushed on issues that you want to pass, but you don't want to be pushed on things you object to. So, for example, maybe he doesn't want to confirm certain picks, and he's mad that he's being pushed into doing it. Who knows? It's hard. It's true. He can't even get the double-edged sword thing right. He said two-edged sword. So who knows?
Yeah. Triple-edged sword.
Everybody line up. We got you here, and if you want to survive, you better be good. Don't get on Santa's naughty list here, because we will primary you. I mean, we are seeing that play out in real time right now with the nominees. And my friend.
I mean, that's kind of good. I mean, I wish the left could do that, or did do that. Primaried people effectively if they didn't do what the left wanted. That would be great.
I'd also love it if that's how threats were made in Washington. Don't get on Santa's naughty list.
I know, yeah.
You get on Santa's naughty list, you're in trouble, Mr. or ma'am.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of sweet if that's how Washington worked in the background, with people invoking Santa's naughty list to make threats.
Right. I mean, I don't know if you want to sanctify him when you're criticizing him. That may be the wrong analogy, unless you're like Santaphobic. But some people sanctify Trump and others sanctify him.
Joni Ernst, who is probably one of the more conservative, principled Republican leaders in the Senate right now, is being hung out to dry for not being good enough.
I mean, I don't know how principled she is. She's pretty odious, and she made a campaign video bragging about castrating pigs. So she's pretty persona non grata to me. Let her be hung out to dry.
Also this week, President Biden issued a flurry of pardons and commutations for nonviolent offenders, commuting the sentences of almost 1,500 people and pardoning 39 others, the biggest single-day act of clemency. It comes 2 weeks after the president pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. In a stunning twist, former senior White House aide Anita Dunn criticized the timing and justification of the Hunter Biden pardon.
I absolutely agree with the president's decision here. I do not agree with the way it was done. I don't agree with the timing, and I don't agree, frankly, with the attack on our judicial system.
Also making.
I wonder how did she want this to happen?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, who do those pardons include? The kids.
Oh, we're going to get
cash,
to that. We're going to get to that later on.
The kids for cash judges, the judges who took money from juvenile prison profiteers to jail children as like one of the most corrupt schemes I've ever heard of in history, like jailing kids for money. And Biden, for some reason, pardoned them. I'd love to know what the story is there.
Well, yeah, he's going to claim it's because of some across the board thing, but honestly, yeah, we're going to get to that later on in the stream, because that is, as you said, one of the most disgusting people to pardon, one of the most disgusting abuses of power. But, you know, he could have freed so many other people, including political prisoners, Leonard Peltier, Mumia Abu-Jamal. Could have also pardoned Stephen Donziger, who has been had his reputation tarnished for the crime of successfully suing Chevron for poisoning the waters of the Amazon.
I also wonder if Biden did in these other pardons, which he's obviously doing to, like, you know, whitewash the fact that he pardoned his son. But I doubt that Biden issued like retroactive pardons for in these other cases in the same way he did with Hunter. Whereas with Hunter, he didn't just issue pardons for what Hunter was convicted of. He issued a sweeping retroactive pardon going back to January 2014, which happens to cover the period in which Hunter, you know, shortly after that, January 2014, became a member of the board of Burisma, the Ukrainian energy company. And I somehow doubt that Biden's pardons were as sweeping as they were for Hunter's.
Right, exactly. Also, you know who else he could have pardoned was Edward Snowden. Julian Assange.
That's not going to happen under Biden. No way. No. Biden's previously called Julian Assange a high-tech terrorist, so unlikely he would ever get a pardon from Biden. Maybe Trump this time. You know, Trump teased it last time. He talked about it, but then he came under pressure from Republicans who basically said, and this was when Trump was leaving office and he was facing another impeachment for January 6th, and that got Trump to back down pretty quickly. We'll see if he changes his tune this time.
Week FBI Director Christopher Wray told Bureau employees he'll step aside before Mr. Trump takes office, with nearly 3 years left in his 10-year term, bowing to the reality that the president-elect had publicly declared his desire to replace him.
In my view, this is the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray while reinforcing the values and principles that are so important in how we do our work.
Kash Patel, a former federal prosecutor who President-elect Trump has picked to replace him, has called for the agency's headquarters to be dismantled.
The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big. And the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
Patel names roughly 60 people in his book.
Sounds great to me. What's not to love about that proposal? Make the FBI a museum of the deep state. Given all the people it's persecuted and unfairly targeted, totally, that sounds like a great idea. I don't know why that's controversial. I mean, the FBI does have a long rap sheet, but for saying that, Kash Patel certainly is angering some people in Washington. Right.
I mean, they'd have to reckon, like the corporate elites, the media elites, the political elites would have to acknowledge the fact that, you know, the FBI went after Martin Luther King, among others, and they're not really happy about doing that.
Yeah, no, you know, Fred Hampton, the list is so long.
Yeah.
And I mean, now those victims of FBI persecution are not who I think Republicans have in mind when they want to make a museum of the deep state. They're thinking about one guy, and that's Donald J. Trump, who was framed as a Russian asset. But if there actually were a museum to the deep state, there'd be, you know, the majority of the deep state's victims would be on the left. It'd be people like Dr. King and Fred Hampton.
Right.
As being part of the, quote, deep state. I asked President-elect Trump about that list in our one-on-one interview last week. Do you want Kash Patel to launch investigations into people on that list?
No, I mean, he's going to do what he thinks is right.
Do you think that's right? Do you think that's right, sir?
If they think that somebody was dishonest or crooked or a corrupt politician, I think he probably has an obligation.
crooked like crooked Hillary. is that
Yeah.
a signal? Because that used to be his name for Hillary Clinton, Crooked Hillary. And then I think he also gave that to Joe Biden as well, Crooked Joe.
And
So,
Sleepy Joe, of course.
Yeah.
That one stuck more. Yeah.
He's like, if they think they're crooked or sleepy, then
Right.
maybe they should come under
Right.
investigation. Lock them up.
Notice he didn't say crazy because that's what he called Bernie.
So Bernie's safe under the Biden
Yeah.
regime.
Yeah. Under the Trump
regime.
regime. Yeah.
Yeah.